Question 4, Don says, the instrument asks the question why she lost her joy in her recent past. Lost her joy in the recent past. Would Ra comment, please? So here we have a relatively long answer and full of information. Ra says, the instrument made a free will decision not to address the physical catalyst causing great pain by means of the allopathically prescribed chemical compound, which the instrument was sure would be efficacious due to its reliance upon the suggestions of Ra. So first, Carla decided not to deal with the pain with medicine, which she knew that would be efficient due to the reliance upon Ra's suggestions. So I guess it seems like Carla didn't take her medicine or her analgesics, her painkillers, or whatever it was, right? That's the allopathically prescribed chemical compound, which deals with the pain that she was having. So whatever analgesics she was taking, she didn't willingly take. Okay? So why has she lost her joy? Well, Ra continues and says, thus, because of this, the catalyst was given in a more complete form. The outer service to others became nearly impossible, causing the entity to experience, once again, the choice of the martyr. That is, to put value in a fatal action and die, or to put value on consciousness of the creation and of the one creator, and thereby live. The instrument, through will, chose the latter path. So, yeah, she in essence faced because of the increase in pain, she had to, I guess, be less mobile and less available for other people. And that, of course, brings a sort of mental state. And I think Ra's going to talk about this. Because imagine that you're always willing to go and help people and do things. Carla mentioned this several times, that she wanted to help as many people as possible that would go to her and welcome them in her house. And that's a lot of work, mental investment in helping people through advice and listening to them and so on. So when you're in pain, you can't do this. So now you have to sacrifice that. But that wasn't the sacrifice that Ra is talking about here. The sacrifice is actually the should I sacrifice myself, right? The martyrdom syndrome of always giving yourself for others, which again, it's not something bad. It's just how some people act and react. So that was the sacrifice, to sacrifice that for her health, which seems a little bit more reasonable to my point of view, of course. I would rather be healthy and safe so I can be of longer service than to, destroy myself in giving too much. And to one degree or another, we have all felt this catalyst of, the universe sort of puts this in our face and says, do you want to sacrifice yourself for others? And sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't. So we find balance and wisdom there. That is what we develop through this catalyst of martyrdom, wisdom. So, she chose to obviously remain a little bit more in herself. You see, to put value on consciousness of the creation and of the one creator. To me, that sounds like just dedicating yourself or your energy and your beingness to just, be, and just to appreciate life and not erode yourself. E-R-O-D-E, erode. To, wear yourself down. So there's more to say, and I think now we go into the mental, emotional state of Carla. Ross says, however, the mind and mental emotional distortions did not give the support to this decision necessary to maintain a state of unity which this entity normally experiences and has experienced since its incarnation's beginnings. Since this catalyst has been accepted, the work begun to remove distortions blocking the indigo ray might well be continued apace. So I'm not going to talk about the indigo ray much because the next question involves this aspect of the answer. But Ra is saying that I guess her own mind didn't help in the decision, although she willingly chose. And I love this because this describes so much what we face on a daily basis, which is we make a decision, especially when we are becoming more aware of what's beneficial for us in a spiritual way. So for example, if you were used to doing something in the house or at work or reacting in a way, this was your state of being, and now you are thinking, wait, there is a more compassionate or wise way to approach this, then you begin to make that decision or take that decision. Yes? So you're changing the way you are, just like Carla was changing the way she was. She wouldn't sacrifice herself anymore and try to bring herself to, like, the decision was the appropriate, let's say. Okay? Does that mean that your mind is going to agree with it? Absolutely not. And we often feel this. We see that our mind is almost trying to convince us that, are you sure you made the right decision? I mean, we could be doing this. We should have reacted that way. The mind is so used to this conditioned pattern that, of course, is going to offer it again and talk about it. And so we feel all this sort of conflict, inner conflict. And so we enter a sort of cognitive dissonance. And that's what we deal with when we are in this process of changing, of transforming, of literally the death of the old self provides or invokes this conflict in our mind. So I think this is normal. And how we learn to deal with this conflict, which is, let's say, if we get experience, we gain experience by dealing with this inner conflict of the decision that we wholeheartedly picked as the most appropriate, and yet the conflict of the mind in disagreement with it. The more we experience this conflict in several, let's call them catalysts, right, or transformations of the mind, the more we evolve around the capacity that we have to deal with this catalyst, or rather with this conflict, not with the particular catalyst, but with the conflict itself. In other words, the more we face this conflict, this inevitable conflict of the mind telling us, oh, you should not have done this, you could have done it the other way, and probably better to be safe this way, and so on. The more we deal with this and we allow this to happen, then the easier it is for us to make decisions in the future that will carry over this transformation, and less conflict will be felt. Because at the beginning, there's a lot of doubt. In the future, we become a lot more accustomed to just intuitively living as opposed to living through the mind. I think it's a normal thing to happen. So this is what was happening with Carla, in my understanding, right? When Ross says the mind and mental emotional distortions did not give the support to this decision necessary to maintain a state of unity or harmony, peace, calm, equanimity, right? To maintain a state of unity which this entity normally experiences and has experienced since its incarnation's beginnings. So, yeah, that's precisely what it is. She was used to living in peace, joy, calm, this joyful being, and the mind was not giving her that. So we all know what this feels like. This is not something, some extravagant experience that Carla was having. We all deal with this. And then Ross says, since the catalyst has been accepted, then she's beginning to remove the distortions blocking the indigo ray, which was clouded, let's say. The indigo ray was clouded by this conflict. But once you accept the catalyst and you say, listen, whatever the mind says, I'm just going to go through it because I know my heart says is right. And I don't care what the mind says. I'll continue to go and reap the results of this decision because it makes sense to me. And so at that point, you accept the catalyst, you work with it, you become this space that I say, become that space of acceptance and compassion towards the mind, and it'll begin to dissolve. Those clouds will begin to dissolve, and guess what? Indigo ray gets unblocked. Let's talk about that.